Right, members of the Trade Union Federation Cosatu and the South African Communist Party will be marching to the union buildings in Pretoria to defend the principle of collective bargaining. The unions say they want a response on demands they submitted to the presidency in October. Unions and government are at loggerheads after government reneged on a multi-level wage agreement for the public sector workers agreed to at the bargaining council. Let's get the very latest now, bring in our reporter Abongile Dumako, who's covering this story for us. Abongile, very good morning to you. Remind us about some of the demands made.
Good morning, Blaine. Amongst those demands that were made by Cosatu in October when they did conduct that march here at the union buildings was for government to honor a 3-year wage agreement which would see employees throughout the government sector getting that increment for 3 consecutive years. Well, we understand that that was not honored, and there was subsequently a meeting between the union and other trade unions that actually saw them coming back here today to get a response to what was going to happen in as far as the government side is concerned. When you look at those grievances, which include a collective bargaining that will see, a proper dialogue taking place between the civil servants and government as to basically what's going to happen moving forward when it comes to, better working conditions and things like those. So this morning we are expecting, Blaine, that members of Cosatu, of course, with the statement that was released earlier this week, SACP expected to join as well this protest or this picket. We are told is going to take place from this very hour, 9 o'clock. Then this is where they are actually hoping to meet with officials here at the union buildings and get a sense of where to from here in as far as the list of grievances that they submitted back in October is concerned, and a way forward, moving forward between themselves. That is now the trade unions and the government. But Abongile Dumako joins me now. He's the General Secretary of Cosatu. Mhlekazi, thank you so much for your time. You were here in October. Tell us what happened between the last time you were here and what is bringing you back here.
Thank you very much. Indeed, we were here. We presented a memorandum in different areas, in all the provinces, to be specific, to different governments. In the main, our aim was that those memorandum will be discussed by the President and his team. And we're expecting to receive responses. And when we did not, which was not unusual, because in many instances we do submit memorandum and we give a deadline, but we never get a response. In our discussion in the CEC, we thought this culture of government not responding to any memorandum, whether it's a Cosatu memorandum or whether the people complaining about service delivery, is a culture that shows government that does not care. And we felt that, no, we have to come here to receive those memorandum. In other words, to fetch those response ourselves. So we then engaged and decided that due to the COVID-19, we can't bring people here, but we can bring a few people just to be able to protest, to picket, not to march. And that the members of the CEC, led by the Cosatu office bearers, will go inside and meet the President. Regrettably, the President says he's not available, but they have now made arrangement that they will deploy ministers to talk to us, because we want to get an agreement and understanding that any memorandum sent to a carrying government need a response. We think that will be resolved. The content of the issues that we have been raising, and as you know, on the collective bargaining regarding the public sector now is before the court. We are waiting for a judgment. We think we got a sound argument that we have made, but we can't rely on court. That's why we're coming up here, just to continue making a presentation to the government people here that we don't like. There are issues of corruption, there are issues of PPEs, there are issues of COVID-19. All those issues are contained in the memorandum, and wanted to express to government that the culture of not responding must come to an end.
Where do you think emanates from the culture of not responding to any, say, grievances that are brought by civil servants and people of this country, and as far as their concerns go? Where does it go wrong? Where does it You know what I mean? Where does that
I
change?
think it's a technocrat approach, and I think there's something that they've learned from the old apartheid, because there's no reason why you can't respond to a memorandum. It does not mean whether you agree or not, but just the courtesy and respect. We think it's taking and is eroding the principles of the ANC as a liberation movement, that when they were presenting demands, they were not just doing it for the sake of it. Somebody has to show respect and somebody must respond. And we said as Cosatu, we can't allow that culture to continue.
You are here at Union Buildings now. As you are saying, you're going to get inside the Union Buildings. We're hoping to speak to the president. He seems he's not available. What is it that you expect to see transpire in that meeting that you're going to have when you enter these premises?
Really, we have been engaging with them, even in arranging this meeting. I think there's almost a broad understanding that it is uncalled for any democratic government not to respond. We want to get that official, whoever is representing the president, so that when we march next time, we're really getting a response. Then we can engage in the content of the response. That's how we're hoping that today we're going to have that discussion, that agreement in principle, that every time we march, we put the deadline for response. They must have a response. We know some of the issues we're raising are complicated. For example, the changing of policies or the changing of laws. It may take more than 18 months and so. But at least acknowledge the demands received, indicate how it's going to be dealt with, and open the question of social dialogue, because our principles as a country is that we can't close social dialogue, no matter how things that may be difficult.
Tell us about then the possible involvement of SACP in this picket today. I understand you had a meeting on Monday. What were the discussions that saw you sort of deciding to sort of do this thing together?
I think it's our culture that Cosatu and the SACP, even with the ANC or as the Alliance as a whole, got a long history of working together. We have shared the same ideology with the party. We meet from time to time. So when we're making in our discussion and we said we're coming up here, they felt it is the right things to do themselves, that they must join the workers all the time when the workers are raising their issues. We're together on the 7th of October when we're raising this demand, and it makes sense to join us here in the protest when we are taking those issues forward.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ba.
Well, Blaine, that is Abongile Dumako. He's the General Secretary of Cosatu. Just arrived here at the Union Buildings. We see, of course, some members of Cosatu also making their way here. They will be staging a picket inside the Union Buildings. They already understand, in fact, they've already been informed that the President, Cyril Ramaphosa, won't be able to receive yet another memorandum from them, but they are hoping that an official in the form of a minister in a cabinet will come and receive their memorandum, expressing concern as well, Blaine, about what he calls the culture of not responding to concerns that are raised by either a trade union or even civil servants or civil society and ordinary civilians of the country when it comes to their concerns. He says that has to come to an end. We wonder what's going to happen next if they are not satisfied after having taken yet this step to come and reach out to the Union Buildings here in Pretoria. Blaine.
Abongile Dumako. Thank you, sir.